Welcome to On the Money with Secure Money with Brian Quaranta and Neil Major. I always slaughter your name, Quaranta.
You did it right.
Quaranta.
Quaranta.
That was pretty good.
Is it Italian?
Is
it
Italian.
Spanish?
Yeah,
it is Italian.
It is
Beautiful.
Italian.
40.
Yeah. Calabrese. Yeah, it does mean 40. Yeah, it means
It
40.
does. Look at that.
Quaranta,
well,
right.
we want 40% return on everything we invest.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I would rather see you not take a 40% loss.
Yes, like we've said
Right.
before, a penny saved is a penny earned. That's
That's
that
right.
old adage, and there really is truth to that. You're
There
not
is.
only trying to make people money, you're trying to keep the money they have.
Keep the money,
Let's
right.
talk about that.
Yeah.
What are some of the ways?
Well, the return of somebody's money is more important than the return on the money, right? Because nobody really was going to call an advisor and thank them for making 15 or 20%, but they'll call you if they've lost money. But you really should have a strategy in place that can absorb market volatility. Most people do not, because they have 100% of their money in the market. In my book that we wrote, Right Track Your Retirement, I talk about our methodology, which is basically a bucketing strategy where we look at the amount of money you've accumulated and we identify the purpose of it and we separate it into these three different buckets. The importance of that is that in retirement, the number one priority for most people with the money that they've accumulated is to generate some type of income. Because when you retire, the paycheck's going to stop, but bills, taxes, and all those things you want to do,
Right.
vacation, the bucket list stuff, you're going to need money to do that. So we've got to figure out a way, how are we going to keep the cash flow coming in? And how are we going to do it in a way that if the markets are volatile, you don't run out of money?
And it's not just investing, Neil. Let's talk about all the different services. There's wills, there's Social Security, Medicare. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, at Secure Money Advisors, we're very focused on a comprehensive financial plan. We want to look at all factors, and that's why we call it the Right Track Your Retirement. And so first thing that we focus on, income, obviously. Like Brian said, you have that bucket list of things that you want to accomplish when you quit working. We want to make sure that you're able to do that. Then we look at tax planning. What can we do today that's going to better your situation in the future? Where can we be generating cash flow from? Things like that as far as tax planning goes. Next, we look at the investments, right? Once we determine the purpose of your money, we can determine the placement of your money. So then we can figure out how to invest it, right? Next is healthcare, that's number 4. And 5th is legacy. And so when you talk about some of those things, Secure Money Advisors has been able to partner with professionals in each and every category. So we have an estate planner that we've partnered with, so there's synergy between the two of us. We have a healthcare expert, Lisa, who's in our office that is able to help identify the right supplement plans for our clients. We've partnered with tax
attorneys, advisors,
so we have a partner in every area to make sure that we're giving you the right track retirement.
We had a question from Libby in Sewickley, and she was wondering about buying a rental house. Is that a smart way to invest your money as a 32-year-old disabled woman? Let's answer that.
Yeah, well, rental properties are a good way to generate cash flow. I think rental income is a great thing to have in retirement. Not everybody's going to be able to do it, though. Not everybody has the desire to go start buying rental properties and managing them and doing those things. So, you've got to have other ways to approach cash flow planning. When I talk about investments for a moment, because I think when people think about getting a review or a second opinion of what they're currently doing, I don't think they really understand what that means and maybe what the advisor is going to be looking for. And when we work with people, the first thing we want to do is analyze the risk at which they're taking. If you look at the risk that most people are taking with the money that they've been working a long time for, very hard for, they're usually taking this much risk and a lot of times only getting this much return. And that's a very inefficient balance there as far as the portfolio goes. And we use a very powerful software that can give us really great objective data, so there's no opinions involved here. We're just looking at black and white information.
That's great.
And it's a program called Riskalyze. We're able to take your money, all the positions that you have, and we're able to load it up into this software. And the software generates a report that says, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, you're taking this much risk and only getting this much return. And by the way, if the market market goes down, you could lose this much money.
Wow.
That's what we call a drawdown number. When you can lose this much money, that's called a drawdown, how far your money can go down. And what we're looking to do, especially for the risk bucket that we put together for folks, which again is a 10-year or longer bucket, we want to make sure that we're mitigating that downside risk. So a lot of times we'll have people come in, they don't even know if the markets were to go down, how much they could lose. Nobody's ever explained that to them before.
Right.
But in a portfolio, there's always a drawdown number. It can be determined by the amount of risk that is within the portfolio. And that's very important because a lot of times you'll compare portfolios and somebody might have a 30 or 40% drawdown, and we might be able to go in and make a few changes, keep this, change this, keep this, change this, and turn it into from a 40% drawdown to maybe a 10% drawdown, which is much different, especially in volatile markets, for you not to draw down 40%, right?
Yeah. And
I'll give you an example.
Go ahead.
Rebecca. I just had somebody come in, and they had been with their advisor for 11 years. They've been very, very happy with their advisor because obviously the market's gone straight up.
Sure.
Until
Easy.
2022, right?
Yeah.
But we did this risk-alize analysis for them. And what we actually found out is for the amount of risk their portfolio was taking, they actually didn't do as well as they had thought they could have.
Right.
Over the course of the past 11, 12 years, right? So there was a little more meat on the bone for upside potential, but what we discovered is their downside was so significant, and that's why they were experiencing all the losses. Their safe money was built on bond positions that were down 12, 14, 16% year to date with very, very little return over the past 10 years. And so I think that's what the analysis can really do for you. It can really kind of open your eyes to maybe what you have or what you don't have, what you're lacking.
It's like an MRI or an X-ray.
Yeah, that's
right?
amazing.
I mean, think about it. When you go in, you work with a chiropractor or you're going in to see a back doctor, nobody's doing anything until an X-ray is done.
Right.
And you know, once you do that, now you can really figure out what's really happening here. And now all this starts to make sense. Now I see why we're not getting the return that we should have been and why we're losing so much money. But something Neil just said, think about this portfolio that he's talking about with these folks. Most of their money being in bonds, right? And them experiencing losses of 10 and 12% in bonds. And this is the really scary part about the financial world that we live in today.
Yeah.
You usually were able to utilize what we would call non-correlated assets during times of volatility. So if stocks weren't doing well, you could shift more to bonds and you could protect your money over there. Now we're seeing bonds and stocks go down at together. So it's a different world. And because we're in a different financial world, you have to look towards things that are cutting edge as far as technology goes, right? There's new product designs out there that allow you, if the market goes up, to make some money, but if the market goes down, you don't lose any money. There's product designs out there that will guarantee you a monthly paycheck, just like if you were getting a pension from your employer. And a lot of times people just don't know about these other options because they haven't explored it. They've never gone and gotten a second opinion. Or every time they sit down with their advisor, the advisor always tells them, you know, don't worry about anything. You know, it's just a paper loss.
Ride the roller coaster, hang in there.
You're in it for the long haul, all that kind of stuff, right? And that's meaningless in retirement because we need a plan that works. I always say, this is not a dress rehearsal. We don't get a second chance at it. So we got to get it right out of the gates. We don't have a lot of room for error here. The other thing we talk about is the probability of success of the portfolio. So not only does the software tell us what the drawdown potentially is, okay, but it also tells us what the probability of success is.
Wow.
So what does that mean? Well, is your plan going to work or is it going to fail? Right. How important would that be for somebody to know?
You're the first person to ever even mention this, and I've met a lot of you.
Yeah. Probability of success.
I am kind of blown away. When did this program come about? How long have you had this?
Been around for quite some time now.
Really?
Yeah. So probability of success. We always want to look at probability of success. Too many people measure portfolios based off of returns, right? Or risk. We want to look at probability of success because that's the most important thing. As a matter of fact, folks, speaking of probability of success, I want you to have a high probability of success. And I'm going to ask you, if you weren't on the right track, when would you want to know that? Hopefully now. And if you do, I want you to take advantage of our Right Track Retirement Review. It's complimentary. There's no obligation. You get an opportunity to come and sit down with a fiduciary advisor at no cost and get a true second opinion. Not a sales pitch, not a high-pressure situation, a true complimentary review where we can go over all the things that we've discussed here. So for the next 10 callers who call in right now, you are going to get a Right Track Retirement Review where we're going to go over our 5 key areas with you. We're going to talk about income, taxes, investments, healthcare, and legacy planning. And we will give you clarity over a 45-minute to an hour meeting of where you stand. And if there was some things that needed to be changed, if there was problems that needed to be solved, we can always talk about what that would look like. But you got to do your part. In order to take advantage of this complimentary Right Track Retirement Review, call us today at 1-888-382-1298. Again, that's 1-888-382-1298.
And we're going to take a quick break on the money with Secure Money. We'll be right back.
See, everybody can tell you how to invest your money. There's not a lot of people out there and a lot of firms that can teach you how to use your money. Most people will also tell you that they're scared. And the reason they're scared is because they're afraid of running out of money.
The last thing you want to do is have a really good job into your 60s, retire, and be looking for work again in your late 70s.
The average person might say, well, a good portfolio would be a good mix of stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. No, 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 no. A good portfolio is all designed around the 5 key areas: income, taxes, investments, healthcare, and legacy planning.
We're not just product pickers here. What we do best here is we build retirement plans.
9 out of 10 people, when they walk through the door, would ask us, we just want to know if we're on the right track. And I always say, if you're not on the right track, when would be a good time to know it? Probably now.
People, can actually see a vision once we start to really build out their plan.
This is about you. If you're not getting what you need, and you feel that when you walk out of the advisor's office, it's time to get a second opinion. And you can't get a second opinion from the person that gave you the first opinion. The difference at Secure Money Advisors, as a fiduciary firm, we help you manage the risk, build the income, and give you the retirement you dreamed of.
Welcome back. I'm Rebecca Powers here with On the Money with Secure Money. Secure money is what we all want and need. Some people say when they come in to see their financial planner, or really interviewing you is what's happening.
Yeah.
Do they have to bring paperwork? Do they have to bring pay stubs, documents? I mean, what does their first kind of meeting look like?
Yeah.
Yeah, so one of the things that we do when you schedule an appointment, we actually send you out a little packet to help you prepare for the meeting.
Oh, good.
Now, that will tell you what to bring to get the most out of the meeting. But that first meeting, that strategy session that we're doing with you, bring as much or as little as you'd like, right? The meeting's really all about you, and we're just trying to understand you, get a better feel for your situation. You're going to list out all the things that are currently concerning you about your plan. Oftentimes, we don't even really get into statements, things
Good.
like that in that first meeting. So prepare as much or as little as you'd like. Some people prefer to kind of do the slow approach where they kind of want to, interview
Right.
us first before they start divulging all these statements and things like that.
Right.
But get the most out of the appointment the way that you choose.
And then we have our overachievers that bring in their POS. That stands for their pile of stuff, right?
That's funny.
Yeah, and that's when we have to call in the troops, because
With highlighters.
we're gonna have to get the whole team there. And that, I do want to stress the importance of having a good financial planning team.
Yeah.
And the one great thing about Secure Money Advisors is that we've got 4 outstanding advisors at our office. We've got 15 total people on the team, and they all play a very critical role in making the client experience. And as the founder of the company, I can't be more proud when I get compliments from people and saying, I've never worked with such a well-organized team that cares so much. And it doesn't matter whether it's our front office person who's in charge of our client introductions, the way they answer the phone, or the way they greet you, or whatever it might be. All those things make a difference. But it's a very welcoming environment. When you think about financial planning, you think, think, well, what kind of egos am I going to be walking into here? What kind of stuffiness, or are they going to make me feel bad that I wasn't doing the right things?
Exactly.
And that's not what we're there to do. I didn't grow up with a silver spoon in my mouth.
Right.
Neither did Neil.
Me either.
We worked very, very hard I worked very hard for my money. My parents worked very hard for their money.
Amen.
And I would want to know that they were just going to go and sit down with somebody that actually cared and gave them real advice. And when I say real advice, it really is looking, are there truly problems here? Because a lot of times people come in and I'll say, the way that they're explaining, I'm going, I don't really think you have a problem here.
Right.
I really
You don't need me.
You don't need me.
Right.
I don't see the problem here, and I explain to them why we don't see the problem. And sometimes that's, it's great for them to hear. But then sometimes the truth will come out and they'll say, yes, but my advisor doesn't review in the depth that you guys review in, or he doesn't do all the things that you guys want to do. And so they're looking and saying, well, they've done a pretty good job getting me here, but there's all these things to do in retirement planning now, and he hasn't listed, or she hasn't listed off all of those things like you have. And I feel at this point in our lives, we need a more comprehensive plan. And we've worked very hard to build that out to make sure that when somebody onboards with us, they are getting a very thorough plan.
And what if someone, I have to be honest, until I went with the fiduciary I trust, I didn't really know all of my numbers, and it had been 15 years since I even looked at my 401k. You can also look at, you can find that information. If you don't have the information, what I'm saying at home, you can also find that for them, correct?
I mean, I've discovered $500,000 for people before.
Was it me?
You would think that that's not a true story, but that's still a true story.
Yes. You'll see
true
come on in and they'll have two different statements, and the numbers will be very similar. And I'm not real sure if this is the same account or different accounts. And we'll check the account number and say, good news, you $500,000 richer. So it's amazing. But
that is amazing.
Our job is really to get you very organized, right? And that's why we give all of our clients, we take all their POS and put it in this binder.
I like that.
So they're very detailed and organized. And to Brian's point about the staff, I mean, I think that we have such a good staff, so many bright people that really are able to provide support, whether you're an advisor or not. They're really great. And I think Brian's done a really, really good job at hiring staff much sooner than we needed them. And so that way, they're fully trained, they're ready to go, 6 months a year when we do need them. So we've done a really good job at that as well.
Looking ahead.
And culture is something you can't compete with, right?
And you can't fake it either.
You can't fake it either.
Right.
And the thing is that, look, at the end of the day, most financial planners have the same market to work with. We all have the same stock market to work with, right? We all have the same insurance companies to work with. Culture matters and philosophy matters. Some advisory firms think it's okay to take risk with 100% of somebody's money. We do not. We believe in protection first. If somebody said to me that they would want to leave 100% of their money in the market, I would tell them that we're not going to be a good fit, because I understand the liability that goes into that long term. If you don't take the time to protect some of your 30, 40 years worth of work, in my opinion, you're just setting yourself up for failure, and you now have a lower probability of success. Now, if the market cooperated 100% of the time, you might be okay, but we know the markets don't cooperate 100% of the time. Of
course.
And over the last decade, people have gotten greedy, to what was going on in the market. And there's a lot of people out there making a lot of money. And, up markets make a lot of geniuses.
You're psychic. You knew. Nobody knows.
How did you know how to buy? How did you know to buy Tesla? But, you look at all those, a lot of, like Facebook, Netflix, I mean, I can go Amazon, Google, they're all down.
Right. And Disney. They made a huge mistake going with the woke thing, and they've lost a huge amount of their stock.
Yes.
My husband works for Disney, so I know.
Yes. So it is so important that you really think about the protection of your money more than taking the risk with the money, because we can still get returns, but we can have a lot of safety built in too.
I mean, obviously our name's Secure Money, right?
Exactly.
So obviously safety is our priority.
That is your number
And it's always amazing when we're in the conference room doing our strategy sessions with new folks. It's amazing when they see what simple rates of return can enable them to accomplish. It's kind of eye-opening.
And I think that simplicity really is why people love our Right Track retirement system.
Absolutely.
As a matter of fact, folks, I'm going to give you the opportunity, again, to come in and get a complimentary no obligation, right track retirement review, where we will discuss the 5 key areas of income, taxes, investments, healthcare, and legacy planning. We will make sure that we thoroughly show you how to build what I consider a real retirement plan, not an investment plan, a plan that has a high probability of success, something that when the markets are volatile, you can put your head on the pillow at night and still sleep well. So, but you've got to do your part. You've got to call us. Call us today, 1-888-382-1298, and schedule your complimentary Right Track Retirement Review.
And more wonderful, insightful information about your money, On the Money with Secure Money, right after this.
As a good saver, you've been putting away money during your working years. Studies find that the biggest fear of retirees is running out of money. Market volatility isn't just the downward movement of stock prices, it's the size and frequency of change. The more dramatic the ups and downs, the higher the volatility. This can put savers who are newly retired or a few years away from being retired at greater risk. Today's generation of retirees is not receiving traditional pensions as our parents or grandparents did. Instead, we have retirement accounts such as 401ks or 403bs. These accounts typically expose your money to market risk. The last thing you want right before retirement is to lose a portion of the money you need for income. But how do you turn these accounts into a retirement income? Is it safe to keep all your retirement money sitting in the stock market? The last thing you want is to lose a portion of the money you need for income due to market loss. By working with a financial professional, you can learn how to turn a portion of your savings into an income stream for life and income for the life of your spouse if you're married. We all have moments in our lives when we wish we had taken action sooner. Don't let procrastination reign on your retirement parade. Act now before it's too late. Please call our office to set up your no-cost, no-obligation retirement income review today.
Welcome back On the Money with Secure Money, and the name of the show is Secure because that is your number one goal, right, Brian and Neil?
Yes, yes. Protect,
Absolutely,
protect,
yeah.
protect.
Protect.
Yes, yeah.
You mentioned education in
Yeah.
the last block, and you just kind of, said that's why we like to keep people informed. I think most people do feel intimidated.
Mm-hmm.
We were taught algebra in school, but we were never taught about interest rates or savings. Let's talk about the free education that you do give, even if someone is not your client.
Yeah, well, number one, it starts with the book,
Yes.
right? And if you come in and you schedule, we will give you a copy of this book, or you can order it for $20. But if you come in, I'll give it to you at no cost.
And he's really sweet. You'll want to meet him anyway. But you give like courses, and
We do.
if they want, you don't have to go,
Yeah.
but if you want to, you offer that.
Yeah, Neil does a lot of the teaching. We got some other advisors doing some teaching, but yeah, we're usually at some of the learning institutions like the local colleges and stuff. They can go to our website and find out. But we feel that the education courses are absolutely critical to them understanding the basic fundamentals, and it actually makes for a better meeting when they come in because they get educated. Or they can just go to our website and they can binge watch our TV show because they're all archived on there, or the radio show. But
I think so much has changed. It used to be that you had a pension and you combined it with Social Security and you weren't far off of your work income.
Right.
Most people coming into our office, about 85%, no longer have a pension, or it's a very, very small pension. And so they want to understand, okay, well, I don't want to work any longer. How do I turn this money that I've saved in my 401k or 403b or 457 into an income stream? And it used to be the philosophy was, well, you could buy bank CDs that paid really good rates. You switched from and made it your portfolio safer, more conservative when you switched to bonds. But a lot of that thought and a lot of those methods are outdated.
Why
right?
has it changed? And just in recent years, right?
Yeah.
What's been the big shift? Is it because we have so many baby boomers aging
interest rates,
now?
really. Interest rates are not good for savers and retirees, right?
Okay.
So as much as we all hate paying more for gasoline right now and food, and we do need to get that under control, inflation for a saver or a retiree actually is not a bad thing, because
Explain.
that means, yeah, right now
That's a bad word. Isn't that a naughty word?
Well,
but you're saying
means,
it's not.
That means we will typically see guaranteed rates go up. So, for example, an inflation-protected Treasury bond, right, or a TIPS bond right now pays about 10%. You can go to the Treasury Direct and buy a bond paying 10% interest rate now.
Really?
Guaranteed.
Never even heard of that.
Right. So, and people don't know about these things. Now, if you work with secure money advisors, we are always looking at the market of safety, right? So we're looking for the best products and the best designs and the best places to get the highest returns with zero risk or very, very, very little risk, right? We prefer zero risk.
Right.
We like transferring the risk, no different than when you bought a bank CD back in the day. But imagine bank CDs going back up to 10%.
Right.
You know, I mean, if bank CDs went back up to 10%, how many people would keep their money in the stock market? You know,
things would change.
Things would change. But interest rates were a big reason why we've seen so much change and people having to take more risk with their money. But they're also responsible for their own pensions now.
Right.
And that's the other big change is, you ever see a retirement party anymore? Nobody goes to retirement parties anymore.
I've never been to one.
Yeah, my grandparents would go to them like every other month. They would be at a new retirement party because people knew exactly when they could retire.
Yeah.
People don't know when they can retire anymore because they don't have the pension. So they're trying to figure out in their head, they're going, gosh, how many times we hear this in the conference room? I have been trying to figure this out for years, how we're going to get this Social Security and this. And they're like, my gosh, this is so easy. And we go, we know. We just wish everybody knew it. Because it really is so simple.
It's always so interesting. You always know who has a pension. Because when you sit down with them and they tell you they're retiring December 1st of 2022,
that's when it matures.
They know exactly what things look like,
that's right? Yeah.
Everyone else that has this yo-yo retirement, you're on your own, they have no idea until they sit down and go over a strategy session with someone like Secure Money Advisors.
That's amazing. Just about 2 minutes left in the show. We, again, want to reiterate the word secure money. And I think that is just such, and your philosophy as far as your staff. They are so friendly.
Yeah.
And it's no pressure. That's the best part.
Yeah, no pressure. And look, the biggest thing is I think most people need a financial makeover. And they don't know they need the financial makeover until they get the financial MRI or financial X-ray.
I like that, yes.
And these are very important things to do because, look, the things that got you to retirement, right, or the strategies and techniques that you used all the way through your working years up until retirement are not the same strategies and techniques that you're going to use in retirement and through retirement. The game completely changes, right? You're trying to compare apples and oranges here, right? Your early accumulation years are completely different than your retirement years. We focus on those retirement years. Our clients are all 55 and older. If we have younger clients, it's due to the fact that we work with our clients, kids and grandkids. Yeah. But we focus on the retiree and everything we specialize in, all the strategies, all the product designs, all the philosophies are built around that. And what most retirees want is they want peace of mind and security, and that's exactly what our Right Track Retirement Review does. It's going to provide you with peace of mind and security. And when you are finally clear and you have an understanding of how your plan is going to work, it gives you confidence, and confidence leads to something very important. It's called calmness. And everybody wants to be calm and have peace of mind in retirement, and I want you to have that too. Call us today and take advantage of our Right Track Retirement Review. 1-888-382-1298. Again, 1-888-382-1298. Call us and schedule today.
Fantastic. We'll see you next week.